Let's turn back to the budget. With the focus on SMEs, joining us now is Jon Sutton from ScotPac. Jon, welcome to you.
Thank you for having me.
This is a quite significant budget, isn't it, in terms of the changes that we've seen? Interested to get your view then, particularly given at ScotPac there you provide business lending and solutions for SMEs. What do you see as the likely impact? I guess we've had those changes such as the permanence there in terms of the instant asset write-off, for instance.
Yeah, look, I think that's a good initiative, but I would have liked to have seen the threshold lifted from $20,000 to $100,000 or even a little more. If you think about $20,000 for a business, it's not a lot. In our own business across our asset finance book, the average ticket size is $100,000. So I would have liked to have seen that lifted higher. I think the other part for me is the tax changes, particularly around the capital gains tax, particularly for startups. It really, those changes make it probably fairly difficult for founders to think about investing their capital here in Australia.
There is some encouragement there though for startups to offset those changes we've seen with CGT.
Yeah, I think what we really have to be careful of is that we make the environment really conducive to investment. I think that's really, really important. And look, Australia's got a great track record with some startups that have actually gone onto the global stage.
Also, there's seeking to address productivity, which has been pointed out by so many in the economy that we are way behind in terms of productivity. Do you see any particular initiatives there, I guess, so far as cutting red tape, using AI to do that?
Yeah, look, using AI is the new frontier at the moment, and there are lots and lots of businesses that are working through how to use AI. I think cutting red tape is always really important. It is just difficult to do business at times with the amount of state-based regulation or even local council regulation, all the way to federal government regulation, and particularly with really, really large projects where the period for approval is not months, it's years. That makes capital nervous and looks for other avenues. So anything we can do to really lift productivity and get it above 1%. 1%'s not a lot. If we got to 2%, it actually starts to really guarantee real wage growth as well in the economy, which is good for everybody.
Now, of course, these need to be legislated, these changes, but most immediately, we've got some changes coming July 1, certainly in terms of payday super. Jon, what do you see as the implications here, particularly for SMEs, in terms of, I guess, cash flow issues that they're going to grapple with?
Yeah. This is a huge change, a significant change for SMEs, and 88% of SMEs have a degree of understanding that they have to pay their super from July 1 when they make their payments for salary and wages. So if you're an SME and you're paying your staff fortnightly, you have to pay their super contributions fortnightly, as opposed to the quarterly payment periods they had in the past. This will have a huge impact on cash flow. And a lot of the SMEs that we're talking to, 68% of our SMEs in the survey we've just done have not prepared for that change.
What do they need to do?
Well, they need to really think really carefully and closely about what the impact is on their cash flow. And we are in an environment at the moment where SMEs, corporates are all facing significant challenges, particularly across supply chain, inflation. They need to be planning for the change in their cash flow. So there are things that they can look at. They can look at lines of credit. They can look at, debtor finance, for example, in how they can shorten that cash flow and put more cash into their business to be able to make those payments when they need to occur.
Which particular businesses do you see it being most at risk?
I see all businesses will have to face into this change. It's not, large corporates will be able to obviously accommodate it. One of the things I am seeing is that, for example, where businesses are falling over, we see a significant number of those businesses that go into insolvency have not paid their super or their super obligations. So I think small business, in fact, the survey pointed out that micro businesses, in other words, those businesses with employees less than 5 staff, in fact, some are considering, 21% are considering laying off staff to accommodate for this change. So there are ways around managing this, but they need to be talking to their advisors around it.
And this is only compounding existing issues given the cash flow problems that businesses are facing, particularly in the cost of living environment that we're in, higher costs. How do funding solutions help mitigate those problems?
Well, there's a lot of latent assets on SME's balance sheet. So your debtors ledger, for example, if you've got payments that are out 30, 60, 90 days from your customers, you can actually accelerate those payments and put cash in your hand, which will actually manage your cash flow better through debtor finance, for example. There's ways at looking in releasing capital against some of the assets that working assets or motor vehicle assets that a business may have, where they can recapitalise that and actually bring that cash flow forward.